Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to this segment of Coach Gurbani's a-sabad-a-day, where we are now entering the land of paradox into Bani Bhaktanki, and this composition in Rag Todi is by Bhagat Namdev Ji. And it is written in what is called Ultabansi, or Ultabhasa, twilight language, the language of paradox. So let me first read this very short sabad, and then we will talk about it. Todi Bani Bhagta ki ik oankar Satgur Prasad, koi Bolai Nirava, koi Bolai dur, jal ki machli chare khajur, kaire bakbad layo, जिन हर पायो तिन्हें छपायो राहो, पंडित होए कै बेद बखाने, मूर्ख नाम दियो राम जाने. So we sit here with this very extraordinary, tight composition by Bhagat Namdev Ji. And he starts with an image that is designed to stop the rational, calculating intellect completely dead in its tracks. He says, Koi Bolai Nirava, koi Bolai dur, jal ki machli chare khajur. The fish of the water climbs the date palm tree. Now, if you were to approach this line with standard linear logic, it would sound like absolute nonsense. But this is what Ultabansi is. Ultabhasha, twilight language, or upside down poetry. So on a material level, it's describing something that is an absolute impossibility. A fish, after all, is an aquatic creature. Its entire existence is bound to that horizontal fluid expanse of water. A date palm, on the other hand, is rigid, stark, vertical, rooted in dry earth, stretching up. For a fish to leave the water and scale a tree defies its very nature. In the physical world, this would mean death. But, and here's the but, in the geography of the spirit, the inner world, this death is exactly what is being demanded of us. The water represents Maya, the horizontal plane of everyday worldliness, where our minds swim in repetitive conditioned loops of attachment, of anxiety, of ego-driven desires. You see the fish running the same pattern. The fish then is our everyday consciousness, comfortably navigating these toxic currents. So when Namdev says that the fish climbs the date palm, he's describing a radical 90-degree structural inversion of the self. The consciousness has chosen to abandon its habitual worldly habitat. It begins to ascend the vertical axis of spiritual awakening. And this is the life force, the prana, reversing its natural downward and outward flow and climbing the vertical column of pure, unconditioned awareness. So if you look at the line prior, Koi Bolai Nirava, koi Bolai dur, some say it is near, within, others say it is far. Namdev is in fact mocking our intellectual binaries. Near and far are both horizontal concepts. They belong to the fish still swimming in the water, frantically trying to calculate spatial distances. But the moment you invert you turn 90 degrees and begin climbing up the vertical axis, the entire framework of calculation collapses. You don't measure the distance to the self anymore. You transcend distance entirely. So this is the profound structural shift that we are being introduced to as to the nature of ultimate reality. It is the realization that the self, the divine, is simultaneously abiding, it's shoreless being and dynamic, creative being. It's sargun and nirgun. So when the mind is trapped, swimming in the water, it only experiences a chaotic world of becoming. It sees things changing, moving, shifting, dying. It feels unstable. The date palm tree, however, represents being. That is also us, the unmoving, deeply rooted structural axis of the cosmos, and therefore the structural axis within us. So we are aligning now, the fish is aligning itself with that timeless, unmovable, unmoving self, the being. This is not the physical world, nor does it mean that the physical world vanishes. What has happened is your fundamental orientation to it has changed. So Namdev is telling us that spiritual realization is never an intellectual trophy to show off. It is live, energetic realignment. Because he then goes on to say, Kaire a-sabad-a-day, jin har payo tine chapayo. Why do you engage in useless, loud disputation? Those who have truly found the har know that it lies concealed within them. So bakabad, useless babble, noisy argumentation, the ego's compulsive need to fight over definitions, dogmas, and labels. Namdev is looking at religious authority, not only of his day, but of ours as well. And he's asking, why on earth are you screaming at each other? Because jin har payo tine chapayo. This is absolute intimacy, where you truly taste that reality of har. A profound, sacred silence seals your lips. You cover it up. You wrap it in quietude. You hide it from the world. You hide from the world. So think about it. Why does someone brag, shout, or argue about their spiritual knowledge? It happens because their ego is still very much alive, trying to use the divine within as an ornament. They still want status, validation, and a reputation for holiness. This is the scholarly trap. Pandit hoy ke ved bakhanne, murkh naam dev ram mein janne. The scholar becomes a pandit and declaims the scriptures. But Namdev says, pointing to himself, this fool simply knows the divine. This is truly a masterclass in divine irony. The Pandit is the ultimate professional fish. He stays firmly inside the water of the intellect, analyzing the currents, categorizing the flora and fauna, reciting the Vedas, and defining the exact parameters of near and far. He has immense data, flawless semantics, but zero internal transformation. The Pandit is completely trapped in bakabad, empty vocalization. And then you have Namdev, who willingly calls himself a murkh. Why a fool? Because by the standards of a rational, debating, transactional world, anyone who gives up intellectual calculation and defensive arguments is looked at as a fool. But Namdev has abandoned these horizontal debates. He doesn't want to explain. He doesn't want to manage or defend. He knows the divine. This was a question that was once asked of Carl Jung. Do you believe in God? And he looked at the questioner and said, do I believe in God? I know God. I know. I don't believe. So this knowing is not information, it is union. And that is the essence of today's Sabbath. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.